Hello, everybody, and welcome to College Sports Up. So it's finally time to talk about how the Boston Bruins are real Stanley Cup contenders. Do you expect them to win? No, I don't even expect them to get past the second round. I mean, they can obviously. They have the talent, even though they're young talent. But they also have plenty of good veterans who've been there and done that. David Backes has been to the Western Conference Finals against San Jose with St. Louis. Krejci, uh, Bergeron, Marchand, Tuca all won the Stanley Cup. McQuaid was there too. And then Torrey Krug was there in 2013. That's plenty of experience in the playoffs right there. And they were in the playoffs last year. Sure, they were out in the first round, but they have the experience. But the reason why I think they were Stanley Cup contenders right now is because they have 25 points in 15 games, winning 9 games in regulation. I mean, just let's look at the past 15 games. So they beat Arizona 6-1 in regulation, obviously. Then they won against the New York Islanders 3-1. Then they beat Detroit 3-2 in overtime, and then they lost to Washington because they always lose to Washington 3-5. Then they beat the Rangers. They lost to the Rangers in overtime 2-3, and then they blew out Columbus Blue Jackets 7-2. Then shut out Buffalo 3-0. Then beat Winnipeg 2-1 in the shootout. Then they beat Detroit 3-1. Then they beat Ottawa 5-1. Then they lost to Washington in the shootout 3-1. 3-4. Then they shut out Ottawa 5-0. Then they beat New York Islanders 5-1. Then they beat Carolina 7-1, and then in their most recent game they lost to Pittsburgh in overtime 5-6. So obviously, fantastic results right now. They're probably one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team, in the NHL right now. You can count Vegas being the hottest team, but I don't know. They're probably the most hottest team, or the hottest team in the East. Obviously they're not the best team in the East. I personally believe that they're either the third or fourth best team in the East. In my opinion, Tampa Bay is the best with 65 points. Not only that, but they have all the potential to win the Stanley Cup. That's actually who I think will win the Stanley Cup. Then there's Washington right now, and then I believe Boston. But I do believe that if Pittsburgh makes this playoffs, and I do believe they will, they're going to make a big problem with Tampa Bay because most likely, if they do make the playoffs, they're going to be the last seed, and they're going to be playing, most likely, Tampa Bay. That's just going to be a fantastic playoff spot or playoff round. But back to Boston. Yeah, I don't believe that they're going to win the Stanley Cup, mostly due to the amount of rookies they actually have. But with that said, their rookies are playing fantastic. Let's talk about Danton Heinen to start off with. He's leading the rookies in 30 points, 10 goals, and 20 assists. So, he can honestly win the Calder. I'm not expecting it. I guess he's a dark horse, really. And then there's Charlie McAvoy, who has a better chance to win the Calder because he's more recognizable. He has 21 points, 5 goals, and 16 assists. Yeah, he doesn't have that much points compared to other rookie defensemen, but the fact is that he's the second leader in minutes played per game on the Boston Bruins. He also plays extremely well on the defensive side, not just, he's a two-way defenseman. He blocks a lot of goals if you watch his game. He doesn't make many mistakes. And he's, in my opinion, if not elite, then a franchise defenseman. Sure, it's only technically his rookie year. You can say that he obviously played last year in the playoffs, but it's still technically his rookie year. Same thing for Danton Heinen. He played last year a little bit, but technically this is his second rookie year. And then Jake DeBrusk, also having 21 points, 6 for the Boston Bruins, tied for 6th with Charlie McAvoy, actually. He has 21 points, 9 goals, and 12 assists. A lot of people didn't like Boston Bruins drafting him. I do. I really like his personality. He's extremely good. He was benched a while ago. He came back, played lights out, and he is where he is right now. In the inner sport, he's moved down to the AHL, mostly due to the fact that they moved Ryan Spooner up to the second line at right wing. I mean, Anders Bork is lining up in the NHL, or I mean AHL right now. He did play well in the NHL before he got injured. Now see if he can get back to the NHL. And then Matt Griswick, I believe, I don't remember where he was drafted, honestly. He came out of nowhere, really. He only has 5 points, but that's a rookie. He's on the bottom pairing defenseman. You can't really expect him to get too many points. He has 4 assists and 1 goal. Probably the biggest reason why the Boston Bruins are winning right now is their goalie situation. Tuukka Rask is back. So he has 2 shutouts right now, while Anton Khudobin has 1. His save percentage is .920. He has 14 wins, and his average goals against is 2.23. So he's playing fantastic. Borderline Vezina play as of right now. He's not going to win the Vezina because in the beginning of the season he played god-awful. He was benched for Anton Khudobin, who in his relief played fantastic. He has a .925 save percentage, 9 wins, and a 2.37 goals against. So both goalies are playing fantastic. Arguably the best 1-2 goalie situation in the league. I guess you can maybe say Vegas, but again, it's hard to explain what's going on with Vegas. I mean, who really knows? Nobody knows why Vegas is winning. They have a lot of depth. But another big reason why the Boston Bruins are winning is their top line. Personally, I would like to kind of space out the talent a little bit, but I guess since all the lines are going off of steam, I mean, they're playing really well, especially the third line, the bottom pair. I mean, it's just going extremely well. So the first line consists of probably the scariest first line in the NHL, Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, and David Pastrnak. All leading all in the top 3 points-wise for the Boston Bruins. Brad Marchand with 40 points, 17 goals, and 23 assists. David Pastrnak kind of cooled off a little bit. He has 39 points, 17 goals, and 22 assists. For a while, he didn't have any goals in 10 games. He had a goal in back-to-back games. And then Patrice Bergeron having a fantastic season so far. Possibly the best season he's had, at least in 3 years, in my opinion. He's probably not going to win the Selke because, again, he was injured a good bit in the beginning of the season, but that's besides the point. 32 points, 16 goals, and 16 assists. And you're going to have to mention the second-year players if you're going to be talking about younger players. Again, I already talked about David Pastrnak, the possibly franchise right winger. And then you have a stay-at-home defensive defenseman, Brandon Carlo, who has 5 points, all of them being assists. But possibly the real reason why I feel like the Boston Bruins are Stanley Cup contenders is based on the fact that the East doesn't have that real leader. I mean, besides Tampa Bay, like, it looks like all the teams are very vulnerable right now. I mean, not bad. They're not bad whatsoever. It's just that they don't have, like, that team in the Metro in which they used to have in Pittsburgh, which, again, I believe that Pittsburgh's going to make it to the playoffs, but not as a top 3. Pittsburgh still may win the Stanley Cup, but they have the talent to. But as of right now, they're the 8th seed. They honestly may fall out again because the Islanders are winning right now, last time I checked. But Pittsburgh just blew out Detroit. This is coming right after the Detroit-Pittsburgh game. But like I said before, I believe that Boston's the 3rd or 4th best Eastern team right now, especially since how hot Boston is. I do believe that Tampa Bay is the best. Washington probably 2nd as of right now. Mostly because they have all the talent, even though we expect them to maybe be out of the playoffs, honestly, because of how much depth they lost. But they're still there because of the playoff experience. I mean, all these teams have playoff experience, maybe besides Columbus, who have one game, and Toronto. But Toronto has Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and everybody. But they're still young players. They don't have that real veteran presence, in my opinion, compared to Boston. Yeah, both Boston and Toronto are most likely going to be playing each other in the playoffs in the first round. Unfortunately, well, I say never mind. It's actually going to be a fantastic round. They're rivals, not unfortunately. But the differences between Boston and Toronto, yeah, they're young. But Boston has experience on the line. Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, everybody who I mentioned before. But it's just, they're playing really good right now. Nobody can deny the fact that Boston is one of the hottest teams right now in the NHL. And I believe that they can make a deep push in the playoffs. Do I believe that they're going to win the Stanley Cup? Again, no, I don't. But being a Boston fan, here's hoping that they do. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to share the video. Thank you.